PJNet Live, Tuesday night, Christmas Eve, the eve of Christmas, and we are happy to have our chat room with us, and we are ready to switch to Studio 6 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, good evening and welcome this Christmas Eve to PJNet Live. Let me hold on just a moment while I do something real quick. We do have Dale Didway standing by. Well, kind of. We're having some connection problems, so I want to give him just a moment to get reconnected to our PJNet studio, otherwise known as the Eagle's Nest. So glad to have the faithful here on Christmas Eve. What a great time together we're having as a family. Ben Cooper is in the chat room. Hazards 4, JD Winninger, Rachel Colby, and Tammy from Georgia. Everything's fine, Dale. I can hear him. Dale has rejoined us, but I got to give him a minute to get his camera. You know, he's using duct tape and things like that. And Dale, you're good. Anyway, we are still planning on having Michelle, last word I got, tomorrow night. It will it will be recorded. However, the place that she is staying does not have much signal. So we're trying to find a time that she's not doing anything and I'm not doing anything and to get it recorded. So that's how that is going to go. Now, I don't know if I put out a promo video earlier today, and I hope you went to DaleDidway.com to read his blog today, although we'll be talking about it here on the program in just a moment. And I'm gonna switch back to the bumper just temporarily to try to get in communication with Dale, and we should be back with you as PJNet Live continues in just a few moments. I can hear you, yes. Okay, Dale, I can hear you and I can see you. There you go. Okay, Dale's saying that we're good. Okay. Well, all right. We're trying to bring things back live with Dale Didway, and Dale, that whole time I could hear everything you were saying. You got to be careful what you say when.
I know. We couldn't figure it out. Didn't see anything wrong.
Everything's good. Well, Dale, I appreciate you taking time. I know you're at a family event right now. If you have any leftover food, I hope that you will consider, some of the hungry people in the world, like in Tallahassee, Florida, and around the world. Because I know for myself, I'm probably going to have to get out there and chop some wood or something after the holidays, because I have been at it and eating, and I'm feeling it. Are you?
Yeah, that's where I wore my stretchy pants tonight.
So, did you travel, or are you far away from home, or just around the corner with family?
Half a mile away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, what you could have done is just gone back home, where we got.
Oh, no, we'll do that. So, we're all, everybody lives close to each other. My wife's family, her parents live a mile away, and her sister lives half a mile away.
Well, better you at their house than they're at yours, So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But we always get together every Christmas Eve. That's when we exchange gifts and we have a nice dinner and we sit around, and then the grandkids or whoever reads a Christmas story. We go around the circle and read the Christmas story. Then we exchange gifts, and then we eat some more than play games. So right now they're in the food coma stage, and they're going to be playing games here in a little bit, board games, which so that's okay. So and then we'll be heading home in a little bit and getting up early for our grandkids tomorrow morning. So
There you go. Well, Dale, you did have time to do a blog, and for your sappy blogs that you've been doing this month, I would say this one knocked it out of the park. I really was moved. I didn't know that much about the movie. I'm sure I've seen it at some point, but the way you wove the not only the scriptural significance, but your personal experience, I kind of had to. Well, my eyes were beginning to leak a little bit. Tell us what happened.
yeah, that's been the consensus all around Twitter and on Facebook. I had a lot of comments on Twitter how a couple of friends retweeted, grab a tissue, and that's great. That there makes me feel good. But I didn't know what I was going to blog about. I was Saturday night. I was thinking, what am I going to blog? I'm going to try to get it done early, and I was blank. And I used to get nervous about it. I don't ever get nervous anymore because something will happen. And lo and behold, Sunday morning, we had just a normal Christmas service. Nothing great, nothing bad, just a normal Christmas service. And then, as I said in the blog, if folks hadn't read it, at the end of the service, our pastor told everybody to sit down for a few minutes. And we go to church, about 700 people. It started out with a very, very small church 30-some years ago. Now it's out in the middle of nowhere. And people drive for a long time to come to our church. And so we're blessed by that. And we have a couple in our church, a young couple, very quiet, meek couple, two children, youth group age, junior high age. Mm-hmm. And the mother's been having some serious problems the last couple of years, heart conditions. And then the dad's been having a horrible back problem. So he hasn't been able to work. And they've been having to take time off. And they don't complain. They don't gripe. They don't, woe is me. You never hear that from them. And our pastor just simply got up and had them stand up. And he just told the church, pray for this couple. They've been going through it. It's Christmas time. They're having some struggles. No means did he beg or say anything. He just said, be a blessing to them. Just be a blessing to this couple. And instantly, everybody just gets up and starts going and handing him money. And, very moving time, very emotional time. And people were lined up out the door, coming at him from both sides of the aisles. If a person's in line, they waited a half an hour. It was, to get to him and just handing him money. And overwhelming. They were overwhelmed. A lot of the folks in church were his two kids were just a mess. I mean, because as I pointed out, it was in a good way. So I just thought, because I was kind of close to him, so I just kind of walked up right then and there, and blessed him with my meager gift, and then walked back and just walked up on stage and started taking pictures. In fact, I put one of the pictures in the post. Uh-huh. You can't really make it out, but you can see the line of coming from both sides, and just a very moving time. And so I'm thinking, this is the movie It's a Wonderful Life. This is the end. This is the climactic scene. If you've never seen the movie, it's a brilliantly written film. A lot of comedy, a lot of clever comedy in there with Clarence, the angel, when he's kind of a bumbling. His voice cracks all the time, and very lovable, charming character, well played character, Clarence the angel. And comes and George realizes he had a wonderful life. And so, and of course, if you've seen the movie, George Bailey, wonderful man who had all these big ambitions in life and never came to fruition. Instead, he stayed home and he ran this building alone. He helped everybody he could. Then he needed help. Things happened. Things started falling apart for him financially. And he needs help now. And so everybody dropped what they were doing to come to help him. And so it was this couple in our church didn't have financial problems. He wasn't on the verge of suicide like George Bailey was. But it was the whole concept, people helping, rallying around a couple in need. George was in need. His family was in need. This couple was in need. And so it was the same result there. So
I have to say, yeah, I am now.
I saw that.
Did I get on you?
No.
I have to say this because I was going to say it anyway, but it just got put in the chat room. JD said, or a line I remembered from your blog, which is from the movie, I've been saving this up for a divorce if I ever
Yeah.
get a husband.
Yeah, Annie is the lady who helped clean her home, and the way she said it was very lovable. A lot of great lines in that movie. That's one of the lost arts in today's movies. Today's movies are all more digital and action packed. I mean, some of those lines from the older movies are just classical, and how he courts Mary throughout the movie, and some of the great one-liners in that film, and a well written, well acted film, and that's why it's a 5-star. That's why it's a fantastic movie film. So I'd encourage people to revisit that movie. It doesn't have to be at Christmas time, and there's nothing bad about it at all. Some movies you can pick apart things. You can't pick apart anything about It's a Wonderful Life. It is considered a fantasy movie, I think, because of the angel coming down and taking George back in time, showing him he had a wonderful life, and how life would have been different for other people if he had not been born, because he was granted his wish. Everybody has those times of discouragement. I've had those times where you say, this world would be better off without me. Mm-hmm. But then, if that was my case, my kids wouldn't be here. My grandkids wouldn't be here. And, some of the folks that I've been able to bless and some of the blessings I've been received would not happen. So, people you do get discouraged, they get down, especially this time of year, especially George got down at Christmas time. And, people think those things, and that's not to say you're crazy or abnormal. It's normal. I mean, mm-hmm. Sane people have insane thoughts, and so you just got to go with it. But when Clarence came down, granted him the wish, and took him on that journey, everything had changed, and the town had changed, and his brother, who he'd saved, was not there because he died when he was 12, and so his brother in the movie was a hero because he saved all these people during war. That never happened. All the soldiers died because he wasn't there to save them, because George was there to save his brother. So it all trickles down. Your life is important, no matter if you don't have the accomplishments you think you should or you tried for. 5 years ago, I never ever thought about being an author, ever. Never entered my mind. So never. So now here I am, and it's been amazing. And I never thought about blogging. I never thought about anything like this. So it's all happened in the last 2 or 3 years. So when you get discouraged in those times, just look back and look at your blessings. And don't focus on the bad things. George focused on the bad things, and then he was shown his life was wonderful, just as his family in church Sunday morning received a huge blessing because people respond. If you don't beg and don't make a big deal out of it, they're more apt to respond and give generously. So that's what it was about.
I had two thoughts, and I did want to kind of drill down on it. The pastor exhibited tremendous leadership in the way that he handled this. There's a lot of other ways that could have gone down, but I think he took the most mature and compassionate approach that could be offered given the circumstances, and it sounded very organic. It doesn't sound like they went to him and said, "Hey, this is not." It doesn't. I don't get the sense it was staged or anything. I think it was just the pastor pouring out from his heart. But I really appreciate the maturity with which he handled it.
This couple does not do that. They would not have gone. They did not go to him. They don't make a big deal about anything. But yeah, our pastor did that really well. He could have. Some churches would have said, "Be a blessing to this couple," and then everybody knew what he meant. So,
well, and for some people that could mean praying for them, praying with them.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't have to be financial blessings. It could be just a note. But the one little boy in our church was given $1, and I knew who the boy was, and he was given $1 that morning, and he went up and gave that $1. So, people give. People want to be a blessing. They want to give, and so that just makes it even more better.
Dale, you were talking about movies a moment ago, and I got thinking. Actually, I got a chance to watch a movie today on PureFlix. It was an hour and a half, and I was literally in here cleaning up the studio because it's Christmas time, and all the other half of this building is storage. So things are in disarray. And I thought, well, let me just take this time to clean up. Well, so I put on a movie while I was doing it. But the point I was going to make eventually was that I'm starting to wonder, with the advancement of technology, has special effects and cinematography possibly supplanted good writing skills? Because I think back to the Three Stooges. And this movie, in other words, the people that wrote those scripts couldn't rely on shiny objects and effects and drones and camera techniques that they can today. I wonder if some of this technology in some ways hasn't hurt the art of writing.
Oh, I think it has. I think tremendously, because that's what people love about the movies. They love the special effects. I like them. Super. And that to the writing has, I think, has suffered over the last several years. That's why I haven't really seen a really, really good movie in the last couple of years. And sometimes I say, I want to see that again. I mean, people watch It's a Wonderful Life every year because it's a Christmas film, yes. But that writing and the acting is so entertaining and clever. It's a clever written film, and some of these one-liners are just brilliantly put in there. Jimmy Stewart obviously is a master at that. Was a master at that. He could play anything, and here he's a very likable man who has things go wrong for him in the way he acts. But cinematography is great. But yeah, I think some of the writing, even in today's sitcoms, have taken a beating over the years, and it's one of the things that attracted me to some of these older films is the writing and the acting. So,
well, it had to be good.
I don't really care about stuff. Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome.
It had to be.
It's still a classic. Yeah.
The other thing that occurred to me is there's been a moral decline to the point that maybe heartwarming movies no longer appeal to our crusted hearts. We want to see gore, blood, guts, and compromising situations and innuendo. We prefer to please the flesh rather than to intellectually stimulate our thinking to maybe think inward a little bit.
Well, the most recent example of that has been the last couple of years. The Hallmark Channel was doing great. They were putting out good films. Films I don't really, kind of too sappy for me, but a lot of folks loved them and good messages. And they were on a roll. And what did they do just recently? They gave in to the left and to the socialist Democrats' demand to include the inclusiveness of everybody. And they gave into that. And they're now taking some well-deserved, I'm trying to find a nice word, a well-deserved criticism. And people are very disappointed. They're very disappointed in Chick-fil-A because they're giving in to these demands. And I wish people would just grow up, shut up, and just go on. I mean, there's some things that wouldn't go over. I'm surprised, Coach, that the wonderful movie Christmas Vacation has not been boycotted by PETA, because when the cat gets burned up there at the end, and then they joke about it. Cousin Eddie said, "Yeah, it's a fried pussycat." So I'm sorry for the cat. But it's a funny scene, and I'm surprised they have not boycotted that and got that movie banned because of the cruelty to animals. I mean, we live in a world of a bunch of wusses and a bunch of pansies and a bunch of people who can't stand up and take something.
Well, it's not a call to action to kill cats; it's humor. Okay?
No, it's just humor. Yeah. And I go back to John Wayne's best quote ever. It's my favorite quote of all time. Life is hard. It's harder if you're stupid. And some of these people are stupid. I love it. Best quote ever by somebody.
I didn't know it until you said it.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't know it.
I mean, yeah. John Wayne had some great one-liners, but yeah, that's my favorite quote of all time.
All
I
right.
love quotes. I put a lot of quotes out on Twitter, so that's my favorite quote.
There you go. Well, Dale, listen, let's wrap it up. I know that there may be a little food left out there, and I know that you look kind of hungry. I mean, you look like you need to eat, and
No.
spend some time. Before we went on the air, folks, Sophie came on and visited for a minute. That was precious. And folks, I just
Yeah,
want
we
to
made a
say,
gingerbread house today. So
yeah, I've never had one. I don't know what that would be like.
well, we'll go to my Twitter feed and you'll see a picture of it. And we had a good time making it. She decorated it. She's 5 years old. If that gives you any idea what it might look like. So
Well, Dale, we love you, and we know you love your family. Thank you for taking some time out tonight, to share with us. Great blog today.
Thank you.
Next week, at this time, it will be the eve of the new year. So we'll see how that goes. If we can have something on board, I guess we will. If not, we'll record something. We'll do something. But
We'll make something happen. Goes Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Dale. Thank you so much.
Thanks for everybody who took the time to join in tonight.
We've got quite a crowd. What a tremendous team.
It's
Appreciate
amazing.
you. Yeah, it's something, Dale. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
All right. Dale Didway, we actually wound up on time. Boy, we have to tell Sunbelt Girl that we finished on time. Welcome Against Treason, who has joined us in our chat room. And we don't, maybe Steve, is Steve in here? Yeah, he's here. Steve, if you don't mind, kind of cue something up. I've got to wrap things up here, and I get kind of spinning plates on poles. Appreciate y'all coming out and celebrating Christmas Eve right here with the PJNet family, and you all are very, very special, and there's so much more to come. I can't wait to share more with you as it happens, so stay tuned right here to PJNet Live.